Yes.
Starting. Find the seats.
In-house or how are you doing?
Probably.
Thanks. Do you know if there's a mouse?
Yeah.
So I can just get rid of this stuff.
What do you need?
Oh, I want to get rid of these. I don't know if it's a mouse.
No.
That's fine. Live with it. I'll be like that. Okay, everybody, please come and sit. We're gonna start.
This is the show, yeah. I found that.
All right. First of all, I'm so glad that everybody found it. Thank you so much for showing up because this was a very last minute change of scene. And thank you to our eSynergy hosts. Big round of applause, please. James is going to do some housekeeping.
Yep, so a couple things. One, Wi-Fi, it's eSynergy guest and passwords eSynergy $, all lowercase. You'll find it just beside just a bit of background on eSynergy quickly. So we're a tech consultancy specializing in cloud platforms, data, and AI, and digital government projects. We run with contractors working outside IR35. So if you are interested in being our community, let me, Greg, who works in the talent team, or anyone else part of eSynergy know. Fire exits, if the alarm does go off, it's kind of obvious where they are, wherever there's a door, unlike the wind bullseye. And bathrooms, so you all come out the lift like this. If you take a right and head all the way around, that'll be the ladies. If you take a left on the way around, that'll be the gents. And trust me, you will find it. It's not like The Shining. There won't be two doors behind it. It'll be absolutely fine. Other than that, I'm over to Jill.
Amazing, thank you, James. And yeah, eSynergy hosted us back in 2022 for the people who remember that far back. So they hosted us for about a year. So I'm really happy to be back. Okay, right, on to tonight. So welcome to Cloud Native London. We are a strong, open, diverse developer community around cloud native tech based in London. I'm your host for tonight, Cheryl. I just realized today's the 8th anniversary of starting Cloud Native London. So it's been 8 years. Thank you to you guys for showing up, because without you guys, there wouldn't be a meetup. So it's a really big deal. And honestly, it's been really great for me to be running the meetup this long and for it to still be going. So I'm really happy about it. Tonight, our agenda is 2 talks. The first one is building a healthy platform engineering stack with open source feature flags from Matt. And then at 7:15, we'll have the missing manual, transforming AI research into resilience distributed systems. And then we're going to wrap up at 7:45 and go to the pub. James, remind me the name of the pub?
The Windsor?
The Windsor downstairs. And keep chatting for as long as you like. The sponsor for tonight is Flagsmith. And I think Matt is going to...
Oh, actually,
You wanna
my name's Adrian. I'm also going to be in the talk, but we're going to cover, first off, thank you guys for having us. Flagsmith is a feature flagging tool, and we're going to cover what we do a little bit in the presentation. We wanted to thank you, want to thank eSynergies for having us as well. but we're looking forward to getting down to know more. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Good time to do a little bit of live polling. So if you've got your phones with you, please just scan that QR code. It's going to take you to this service called Poll Everywhere. You don't need to sign up for anything, but we're just going to find out a little bit about you. Okay. First question. Is this your first time at Cloud Native London? You should see a yes and a no, and just tap whichever. So looks like we have slightly more no's than yes. So most people coming, a couple of first timers are picking up. We're also live streaming to YouTube and to LinkedIn, I believe. So there might be a few people at home who are joining us as well. Do some live voting, or we might hit 50-50. Any first time it's going to hit 50-50? Oh, it's pretty close. All right, excellent. Let's keep going. What's your job title? Just pick whatever's closest to what you do. So architect, application developer, backend developer, engineering manager, DevOps platform engineer, security engineer, or anything else. And looks like the DevOps platform engineers are out in force. And quite a few others. So if you are something else as well, please feel free to go and introduce yourself to other people. Nice, couple more votes trickling in. Okay. And then we have a couple of questions from our speakers. And let's see. So do you currently use feature flags? Yes, no, or no, but other engineers do. So I think this question was submitted by Matt. So we're looking like 50-60% saying no. Is that what you expected in the discussion?
No,
What you expected?
but there's plenty of market to convert it, so.
Okay, so lots of people are going to learn a lot from your talk. Excellent. Okay. And then, how long would it take for a team of engineers to build a resilient enterprise AI deployment from scratch? You have anywhere from 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1, 2, or 3 years. I'll give you a bit of time to think about this one. This question comes from Peter. Where are you, Peter? Okay, so let's wait a moment. Let people think about this question. I suspect people might be changing their minds as well. Maybe you could define the problem a little bit more. So like,
it was meant to be open-ended for people's interpretation. It was just sort of interesting what people think a resilient enterprise platform is, and that sort of skews in how they say it. Really, all the answers are correct. It just depends on your perception of what an enterprise system looks like.
There's a bit of a cheats question there.
Yes.
All the answers are correct. You heard it from Peter. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Keep this up on your phone because we're going to use it for Q&A with speakers as well. I'm going to try and take a selfie for social media. So I think maybe if I take it from this angle. Everybody wave and smile, okay? You're going to have to look at it. Oh, wait, big wave, big wave, big wave. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. If you would like to come and speak or sponsor us as well, you can go to cloudnativelund.com. Speaking slots are booked up until January, but just plan ahead and you can always submit your talk titles later. You can also help support our community, sponsor our pizza and beers, and promote your own events as well. And that is it from me. So please welcome our first speakers, Matt.
Thanks for your co-presentation. So hi, everyone. I'm Adrian Gregory. I'm the CEO of Flagsmith, and Matt is our CTO and founder also. So while we get the presentation set up, we just have to put up camera. I have another follow-up question. Actually, while we wait, how many people have heard of feature flags? You might not use it, but how many people? Is it higher than 50%? Still lower than 50%. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about that a bit. All right. So what we want to do today, and actually the microphone's over here. Can you switch with me? Yeah. So what we want to do today is talk about the concept of releases and how for a lot of people here, we all have digital products and releases look forward to what we want to do. And what we want to do is talk through how people are struggling with making releases safer, and then ultimately how you could use some open source technology to improve it. So hopefully we'll educate you a little bit on feature flags, talk through some of the technology that we use and our customers use, and then we'll do a live demo. My part's going to be very short to just set the stage, and then we'll do the demo and then a Q&A at the end. So a way of introduction, I'm based in Barcelona visiting. I've done a couple of events with Cloud Native in Barcelona, or gone to the events, not spoken. So this is my first time here in London. My background is I've been in corporate America, and then I did startups like in A/B testing, like optimizing and amplitude. So I've been in the products and the dev space for a little while. For this team, and we use memes in our presentation because it's our other founder loves them, and so now we do it in all of our presentations. But when you think about myself, a form of introduction is I generally consider myself kind of a technical person, but for this crowd, I'm probably not technical. I'm probably the type of guy who is dangerous to you guys because I'm technical enough to do damage and then try to do something and try to fix something and actually make matters worse. I don't know if I've done that at Flagsmith, but that's kind of more my background on the tech side. And then I wanted Matt to introduce himself. He'll do the second piece.
Yeah, so I'm Matt. I'm CTO and co-founder of Flagsmith. I've had a pretty lengthy stint just with the same team. So I moved to London and joined an agency up near Old Street. Worked there for 5 or 6 years. We built Flagsmith, spanned Flagsmith out as its own business, and I've been working there ever since, pretty much with the same team. So that's why my meme says what it says.
Can't even see the second part of the meme now. I don't know if we're able to remove. Do you think we're able to remove this? Anybody? No?
We didn't have
The remote?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Some of our memes might not land. We'll see.
Do a mess. You might have to just
No, this is great. This is great. Last presentation we did this in Korea. Not this one, but we did in Korean. We had a translator, which was new to us. So this is definitely much more comfortable. So around the concept of releases, there are a lot of problems when it comes to releasing. And I think the biggest one is people are worried about production failures. They're worried about how they roll back. There's complexities rolling back. I think you only have to look as far back as what happened with CrowdStrike to see the impact that a rollback or a multi-release can have. So there are a lot of issues with it, and people can't simply roll back. And the other thing that problems that some of our customers face is around visibility. There's with microarchitecture environments or with the introduction of new technology like AI, when you're trying to introduce that into your stack, it just makes releasing harder. And what you see now is a lot more teams are focused on visibility, right? How do you have the right governance? How do you know what's being released? When is it released? And so there's a lot of limited visibility today and how it comes to releasing. And then also people have a tough time breaking down releases. It's all or nothing deployment, which slows people down. It might take months to release versus days, which the best in class teams do. And so these are just some of the problems that we see. And then ultimately, teams that we talk to always want to move faster. They want to iterate. They want the right level of oversight. And they want to do this all while managing risk. Sounds like a very simple statement that's very loaded there. And what we see with a lot of the customers we work with is doing this is hard. And Flagsmith is a piece of this. Some of the technology that we're going to talk through is another piece of how you can improve it. But as you climb this hill and you're trying to drive change to organizations, you start to realize when you break down this statement, it's very hard to do. You think you solve the problem, and then you get to one place and you're actually, the mountain's another mile higher, right? And so that is common with a lot of the customers we work with, and we try to help them through that journey. And so what we want to do today is just talk through how you can use some simple tools, simple but powerful tools to help solve this problem. So we're going to talk through OpenFeature, Flagsmith, and then Grafana. And the follow-up question that I have is, how many people have heard of OpenFeature? That's very, okay. Yeah, surprised with that one. All right. What about Flagsmith? How many people have heard of Flagsmith? I hope it's better. Nope, still. All right. We have a little branding to do. And what about Grafana? That's good, everybody. So that's good to know, because we're going to talk about these technologies. I will lightly go over Grafana. So with OpenFeature, how many people have heard of OpenTelemetry? Everybody here. So OpenFeature is it's the equivalent of OpenTelemetry, but for feature flagging. So it's a standard that's vendor agnostic. It's a consistent way to leverage it in your code to engage with feature flags. It's community driven. There's a governance board. We're one of the members on it. There's other vendors, other thought leaders in the space that contribute towards the feature. Dynatrace is also a big contributor of the standard as well. So it's just a standard, very similar to OpenTelemetry. The benefit is also that OpenTelemetry is baked into OpenFeature. And so when we talk about this standard, regardless if you have a feature flagging solution or if you have your own in-house solution, we recommend using this as a new standard, because it's going to allow you to plug and play and upgrade your feature flagging provider in the long term if you choose to do so. And we'll talk through how we do that with some of our customers. Not our customers, actually just general organizations like eBay did that with their homegrown solution. Sorry about that. All right. So the other is Flagsmith. We are a feature flagging tool. Feature flagging is, in essence, very similar. It's a feature turned on or not for somebody. When it gets more complex, it's how do you target it towards people? Do you say, is this feature on for this country, this plan, this user? Maybe you're doing testing. Then you could figure out what environment you want to turn on a feature. And that concept itself is still very simple. Where it gets complex is when you start orchestrating this in large organizations. When you start doing it across multiple environments, you start involving PM engineering, when you start putting governance on top of that. And that's where we come in. There are a lot of people that have they start with homegrown solutions, and they ultimately see that they want to transition to a vendor like Flagsmith because they'd rather spend their engineering time focusing on their core product than developing an in-house tool like an A/B testing tool. Like a feature flagging or an A/B testing tool, because we also do that. We do server-side testing as well. So that's what Flagsmith is. We'll show you in real time kind of how it's used. And then Grafana, everybody here knows Grafana. And so what we want to do today, and Matt's going to do this, is we want to show you in a real live demo how you create a flag, how you do a gradual rollout, how you connect it to tools like Grafana, how you could then also use OpenFeature. And so hopefully through this presentation, you're able to take away something back to your organization that you can start with tomorrow. And we'll talk through those later on, but we're going to turn it over to the pro, the engineer.
Thanks, man. All right, well, I'm going to be staring down here for most of this because of the setup. So apologies for that, guys. But I'm going to attempt to run a live demo. So let's see how this goes. My phone so that I don't present that to everyone. On track. Okay, so yeah, we've already talked about the tools that we're going to use, but I just want to kind of recap over that. So get rid of that. Is that actually readable for most people in the room?
I'll see that. Or maybe zoom in a little bit. Can we zoom in a little more? No.
Plus.
Yeah, that's not working. That was the first thing I tried.
I think you'd have to open up accessibility. My live demos are great. What's that?
Presentation mode?
Yeah, but it's a live day. It's actually, he has the eye charm open.
In pinch to zoom. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
All right, that's pretty big. Yeah, so just to recap over the tools that we're going to use. So as we mentioned, we're going to use Flagsmith, but critically, we're going to use OpenFeature. So OpenFeature is going to be the integration point inside our application. Flagsmith is just the provider that we're going to use. It's going to give us the dashboard. and allow us to target users individually as we need. So Flagsmith comes with the main API and dashboard in a single service and an asynchronous task processor, and depends on Postgres. Then we've got obviously Prometheus and Grafana. I'm not going to dwell on that for too long. And then we've got our marketplace application, which is the one that we're going to just use for our demonstration here. So yeah, if we head over then to the code, sorry, we're already in the code. If we head over to the application, this is what it looks like. It's very basic, I'm sorry. But we've just got a marketplace application with some products and some functionality to log in and log out. So if I just log my user in, because we're going to need that for part of the demo in a minute. Great. So if we take a look at the rest of the code. So we've just got a very basic fast API application, just with 4 different routes in it. And this is what we're going to use for the purpose of the demonstration. So, oops. All right, order. Okay. So now that we've got this application, it's already pretty basic. We're going to add slightly more functionality, make it slightly less basic. So let's think about what we might want to need, want to add. We're going to go with adding just a search to search across products. Obviously, we've only got 3 right now, but we may have more in the future. So what we're going to do is going to add some search functionality. But before we do that, we're going to obviously integrate feature flags to make sure that we are rolling that out safely. So I'm not going to actually write that code in front of you guys. I have done that already. So I'm just going to check out the next revision in my Git history. So I haven't yet actually built my search functionality. All I've done at this point is added in my feature flagging service. So here I've added in feature flags. I've added this service, which allows us to initialize the feature flags. And then I've abstracted some of the logic here into a function that allows me to check if a particular feature is enabled or not. But what's critical here and what the benefit of OpenFeature gives you is that if we were to change our provider, move away from Flagsmith, or critically, as Adrian was mentioning, if we want to move from a homegrown provider to later on a vendor that we can go out and buy from for more complex behavior with feature flagging, then all we'd have to do is change these few lines of code here. Any of the other integration code that we have can stay the same. And the other benefit that we get from using OpenFeature is that those SDKs are being worked on by a lot of the community, a lot of the CNCF community, to add extra functionality, right? So we were looking, in fact, today at the Sentry. They have an evaluation tracking integration right now. OpenFeature has already implemented that. So we decided as Flagsmith, we're not going to integrate with that because we can just push people to OpenFeature if they need that functionality. So you get the benefit of a robust set of SDKs that are standardized, and yeah, you can move between providers by changing very few lines in your code. Okay, so that's pretty much everything about integrating OpenFeature. So now we've got feature flags in our application. Let's go and actually add in our search. Actually, sorry, I'm going to pause there on feature flags again for a second. So we can look at what we have set up in Flagsmith, because we have on top of OpenFeature, because we're using Flagsmith as a provider, we have this dashboard. This feature here that we've created is going to become relevant in a minute. But what we've also done is set up some integrations between Flagsmith and Grafana. So there's actually 2 integrations that you can create with Flagsmith and Grafana. There's the integration from Flagsmith to Grafana, which is the one that we've configured here. This is going to send information to Grafana whenever we make a change to a flag in Flagsmith, and annotate our dashboards in Grafana to allow us to see when things are changing and potentially see when metrics are changing either adversely or for the better. And we also have the opposite direction. We have an integration from Grafana into Flagsmith, which looks for some alerts, and we've set this up with a webhook. So whenever we get an increase in just 5xx responses from our application, we're going to push that information back over to Flagsmith. We can see that in Flagsmith and action that there. So if we look then at the dashboard that we've got set up, we've got this one here for our demo application, the marketplace application. If I go and toggle a flag and toggle it back off again, just to show in a second, we can see the annotations there coming up in our Grafana dashboard. So that's going to give us that observability in Grafana to see when things are changing. Okay, so if we head back over to the code, we're now going to add our search functionality. Again, I'm not going to write that in front of you. I'm going to check out the latest revision in my code, and we can see now all I'm doing is basic checking if a flag is enabled, and then creating some logic based on whether that's enabled. But a bit of foreshadowing, there is a bug in this code. Previously, you would have been able to see it with the code that was on the screen. So I was going to see if anyone would recognize where the bug is. But because I can't get all the code on the screen, I'm not going to do that part. But trust me, there's a bug in this code, intentionally put there for the purpose of the demo. So we've added our search. It's behind a flag. So right now, as you've already seen, we don't have that search functionality running. So what we want to do is we want to release that, but we want to release that carefully, right? Obviously, this isn't the most exciting of applications to test this in, but if we were releasing a more critical feature, we would definitely want to test this and release this carefully. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by releasing to a small group of our users first. So in Flagsmith, I'm just going to create a product search rollout segment, and I'm going to roll that out to 5% of my users. And this is where having that dashboard that you don't natively get with OpenFeature can come in useful, because this is something that not only developers would be doing, but also your product team and anyone in the business really who want to be involved in those releases, want to be able to control those releases. So we can build up segments. Right now, we're just using a percentage split to help us with this phased rollout, but we could target individual groups of users, be that our beta testers, be that particular customers that we might have that we might want to provide different bits of functionality. So all I'm going to do here is enable this functionality for this particular group of for this 5% of our users. Now I'm going to go back to my dashboard and I'm going to refresh the dashboard. We've got a 5% chance of that being hit. Evidently, it's not the case. So all I'm going to do is just for the purpose of this demo not going on for hours, I'm going to just bump that up to 100 to simulate us getting to the full rollout. And now I'm going to head over and refresh my dashboard. And lo and behold, we've hit the bug. So now we can head back to Grafana. We can see now we've got a bunch more annotations. So we've got that we created a segment, that we published a new version of our product search feature, and that we then subsequently updated that rollout segment. And in a second, just spam that a little bit more, just to speed things up a little bit. We will see that our alert has been hit in Grafana. That's going to send a webhook back to Flagsmith. So there we go. We can see now we've got some 5xx responses. This red line here is the alert in Grafana. And if we head back over to Flagsmith, We can refresh that, and it enters dark mode as well. We can see that that feature has been marked as unhealthy in Flagsmith. We can see why it's been marked as unhealthy. We can even head over to Grafana to target the specific components that we want to see. But based on that action, anyone in Flagsmith can obviously take an action to, for now, just disable that feature for that segment of users, such that we can get the very important marketplace application back up and running. And then what we could do from there is obviously create a new segment to target individual users if we want to try, if we're only able to replicate this in production, perhaps. We can target individual users to try and replicate it and debug it, or we can try and debug it in another environment. Yeah, so demo. Yeah, so the next things that we're actually working on at Flagsmith, just to kind of finish this off, is to actually act on that alert automatically, to have some workflows that trigger when that alert comes in, so that that action doesn't have to be manual to turn that flag back off again. But right now we're focusing on that observability stuff. Yeah, so I think that's everything I wanted to show in the demo. Everything worked. I'm happy. Adrian, you want to?
We're going to maybe do questions in a second. Can you go back to the marketplace? I noticed something. We're a British company, and a lot of our spelling is all in British English. Yeah, he does this in dollars. I never noticed that. Pounds. This is the one time you do the.
Do you think I wrote this code?
Oh,
Or
maybe
do you think
not.
ChatGPT wrote that code?
I get so much about British English. Right, sure.
The update will be on France.
What's that?
You want the update will be on France?
To be
France.
the what?
France.
Pawns?
Yeah, the
The pounds, sorry, the pounds. I'm so, yes, the pounds. That's the next thing. We're gonna tell ChatGPT to do that. I don't know how many times I've seen the word organization and S, and I'm like, what are we doing in it? Or I spell it with a Z and the Google Docs tells me it's all wrong. We also in this title talked a little bit about platform engineering, and I wanted to chat about some of what like the best in class companies are doing. So we work with Ford, we work with KubeCon, which is a brand out of Korea. They are developing these tools directly in their platform engineering stack. So instead of getting engineers to worry about this stack, they deploy it as infrastructure as a service. They give people the best in class tools, and then they're able to have feature flags for all their new apps. And so that's what we see the great companies doing. I think there's still progression to doing that. How many people here have platform engineering efforts at your company? Still, yeah, that's kind of, so maybe that's even less than like 5%. So, so what we want to leave you with, just to wrap it up and see what questions, when you think about the change, if you have a feature flagging solution, maybe it's a homegrown one because you have a homegrown one. I think looking at using the standard like OpenFeature is going to be a big help. It's just going to allow you later on, if you decide to mix and match, having a vendor in some, maybe your own homegrown solution on others, to make the changes quickly. So it's a quick way to use it. It comes with an OpenTelemetry, and then it could connect with your observability tool. If you're interested in Grafana or in Flagsmith, I think they're really, the great thing is we're open source tools that you're able to download and use for free. So if you don't do feature flagging, you could get involved with it without even talking to us commercially about the tool. And that's kind of we're big in developing that open source community, and that's important for us. So that's another way to get started. And then if you want to be one of the best in class, just figuring out with your platform engineering team, how do you bring this to the tool sets that. So what we wanted to leave you with outside of that, we don't have to go over these takeaways, is we have a couple of resources here. I didn't know if loading 3 QR codes on the same page was a best practice or not. But there's a talk from eBay at KubeCon that talks about their homegrown solution and how they use OpenFeature within their stack. And he talks about why they use OpenFeature. So they have a homegrown experimentation stack and a feature flagging stack. And then OpenFeature is leveraged. We then have an ebook on scaling feature flags. So it's an ebook with OpenFeature, with eBay, talking about how you get started if you're interested in feature flagging. And then we have another ebook that is focusing on modernizing your stack, because we tend to work with a lot of what we call data sensitive orgs, people in banking, healthcare, insurance, where they want to do this thing, but they want to bring it within their own tech stack. And they're trying to go through these modernization efforts, and Flagsmith is a piece of it. And so this is an ebook on modernizing your tech stack and how feature flags fit in. So some useful things. I hope this was helpful, and we open it up to questions. We start time for questions.
Yeah.
I think that's We'll leave it on this side. Oh, okay.
Here we go. So we have a question. Says, I haven't used it, but whenever teams I've worked with done feature flags, they have used launch darkly. How does Flagsmith compare?
Yeah, good question.
So can I ask you to sort of
Yeah,
talk
over here.
to the-
Sorry. Yeah, my bad.
for the
You want to do it? You want me to?
recording?
You got it?
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I mean, LaunchDarkly have a great product, right? They probably realistically have a better product than us. They're the market leaders, but we offer different deployment methods that we can offer that LaunchDarkly can't. So we can deploy on-premise, we can deploy private cloud. So it's not just SaaS. So for those people looking for that data sovereignty, we can really kind of hit that market.
And I think a lot of people know LaunchDarkly because they were the first to enter the space. They're VC backed, and they were the ones just educating on the space. And so we love that they're doing that. And then I think people still come to us for those reasons. And also on the cost, we also can scale better with organizations. So those are some reasons. Great question. How many people have heard of LaunchDarkly? It's still,
Say it again, please.
what's that?
How many people
Have heard of LaunchDarkly? No, so it's the same amount that have heard about feature flag.
Any other questions in the room?
I asked another one on the app.
Oh, here we go. I
Oh,
just
yeah, is it coming up?
yeah.
Let's read it out for the sake of the.
Yeah.
I can read it out.
Yeah,
Can you show us Flagsmith's Terraform integration? Are there any common use cases that work well without redeploying the resources?
So Flagsmith Terraform integration is allowing you to use Flagsmith as a I can't even remember the terminology now, but you can use Terraform to configure your flags in Flagsmith using Terraform YAML, right? Or HCL, sorry. So I don't know what you mean by common use cases that work well without redeploying the resources.
So that wasn't my question. I had a different question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, just to build on that question. So it said, just like in Terraform, you have like for Azure to deploy a resource on Azure, you have like a documentation for that. So does Flagsmith have same? So that, I mean, when you deploy the resource or function from Flagsmith, you can always go to the documentation and just pick the code and then place it in the Terraform.
Yeah, so there's kind of two ways in which we utilize or integrate with Terraform. Because we deploy on premise, we have Terraform modules that will allow you to deploy Flagsmith's infrastructure, but we also have a Terraform provider that allows you to configure flags in your code using Terraform.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like a link to them. Is it on the website or?
It's on our, I think we have a link on our website.
Yeah, or it's in our documentation. If you look at our integrations, it's in our documentation. Yeah.
And so people will use Terraform to do what I mentioned, the platform engineering use case. That's where it's definitely used.
Yeah, my question was, and to be fair, I might be misunderstanding the feature, but when you use Terraform and you have a feature in Terraform, so for example, a EC2 instance that has something extra deployed, is that also something that you can undo in Flagsmith?
So you're talking about feature flags within the HCL code, right? Yeah, we don't support that right now. No, I'm not even sure how we would, but it's certainly an interesting concept. Yeah.
So I think there's another company, Terra team that we're working with. I'm maybe trying to solve that use case. We just don't know.
Yeah, I think, or Pulumi might be a better solution for it as well, because we have SDKs in all the languages that Pulumi support. I'm not sure exactly at what point the flag would be evaluated, right?
There are some values that are dynamic that you would be able to change without redeploying the resource, so it wouldn't be A/B deployment. just be a specific deployment, and then you can dynamically change something on the fly.
Right. I see. But that would be in the code that you're deploying to that EC2 instance, right? Or the service that you're deploying to that EC2
Well,
instance.
it depends exactly what sort of we're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be a good one to try to talk through afterwards, maybe over beers.
Mhm.
I don't know, unless everybody here is interested in hearing, we also could do it. But we could chat through it, because I think it's good to learn more about the use case.
One more.
One
You
more.
want to drive?
Yeah, what is your advice on how to remove a feature flag from your code base?
When to remove.
When to remove it?
Yeah.
When, sorry.
The easy answer is as soon as possible, but that's a loaded question, or a loaded answer maybe, because there's different types of feature flags, right? So there's your kind of release feature flag, where you're releasing a feature. You want to get that feature flag out of your code as soon as you can, once you've released that feature, because otherwise it's just technical debt. But there are other types of feature flags. You've got experiments, which tie in mostly with your release flags. But you've also got things like kill switches, where you might want to keep that in your code base the whole time. So there's different types of feature flags. You can use tagging in Flagsmith and other providers to try and differentiate those. But really, yeah, it's about building that process into your development processes to make sure that you're allocating time to clean up those flags.
And what we try to do is highlight those flags that have been, we give you a status of how, if it's an old flag, so that you could go in and say, hey, this is an old flag, we should revisit how long this has been in our code base.
Yeah.
Did you ask that question? Sorry, or was that another question? Another question. Okay, sorry, keep going.
No, it's-
Did yours come up now, or?
I don't think it came up on that list. So I asked you.
Let's go live.
So my other question was, so when the teams that I was working with were using Northstar, one of the problems that we had,
Mhm.
not it wasn't just down to the feature flags, but side stuff. But there was a bit of confusion around testing. So things would get tested with the feature flags off, but then when they were switched on, it would then surface bugs that hadn't been through the proper test process.
Right.
So is there a best practice for how you test artifacts with and without feature flags? Do you treat each thing as a separate artifact? How does that work? Because it gets a bit complicated. If your feature flagging on or off state is separate from your code, your configuration.
Yeah, it's a difficult question to answer with like a single answer, because it is one of those questions that kind of depends. I don't think there is a best practice to it. No.
Okay. Oh, that's really what I was asking. Yeah. Is it just that we didn't know what the best practice was, or is it actually quite tricky and needs a bit of thought?
It is, yeah, unfortunately so. Yeah.
Do you have any info on your website about good approaches or things?
I think we do have a section in our documentation around testing with feature flags. Kyle might.
And if you're interested in learning more, regardless if you go with flag, we could also chat, like send us an email and we could chat through it. And we could have you talk with the team. Thanks for that. Even if you're using OnStrike, we're okay.
Okay, I think we are all good. So. All right. So, right over to you.
Hi, everyone. Hello? Hello?